Hi everyone!
Welcome to In Our Defence, the podcast designed to give you all the advice you need whilst going through the trials and tribulations of life to and at the bar. Now, we wouldn't be a legal podcast if we didn't give you a legal disclaimer.
Whilst every effort has been made to ensure the content of this podcast is accurate, none of it is to be taken as professional advice in any capacity. We might talk a lot about a lot of things in a lot of detail, but in our defence, we are still learning too.
Action. Hi everyone! Welcome
Hi guys!
back to In Our Defence. This is episode 6 now, although it's something like week 8.
Episode 7.
It's episode 7, like 9. Honestly, I know most of the people who watch these can probably relate. Pupillage applications have just taken over well and truly. They're in now. It's in the lap of the gods now what happens. But that's why we haven't been able to get an episode out for the last 2 weeks. We're really sorry. That and both of our working schedules have just not aligned how we would have liked. And whenever we did have a moment to do this, the other didn't. So we are sorry, but we're back. We haven't forgotten you guys.
We're back with a bang this week. So guys, if you remember a couple of episodes ago, for our topic of the week, we discussed the case of Brianna Ghey, and we have been keeping up with it. As of yesterday, it was the 1-year anniversary of Brianna's death, and it's obviously a really sad and tragic day. Thankfully, Brianna's life was celebrated and they had a lovely vigil. There is some semi-good news come off the back of this case. In our topic of the week, we did say that they were being named at sentencing. Sentencing has now happened and the 2 killers have been named. And they've also been sentenced. So the female was sentenced to a minimum of 22 years in prison and the male was sentenced to a minimum of 20 years in prison. Obviously, it's an absolutely heartbreaking case. This is sort of both of our topics of the week this week, and we wanted to just do something in her memory.
Can I just say, it's not the most appropriate thing to say, but the way Brianna's mum has conducted herself the whole way through this, I think has been so dignified.
Yeah.
I just think it's incredible really, how she's handled the whole thing.
I agree, totally. As long as, you know, the family can get some form of closure, it would never be enough and it will never be able to bring Brianna back or get rid of that grief for them. But as long as there's something that can bring them some peace at the end of the day, that is what the criminal justice system is there to do. So we thought that we would not do a topic of the week this week, but sort of dedicate this episode in Brianna's honour, as it is a year since she passed away. Yeah, so we hope you guys understand, and we will be back next week with proper topic of the week for you. And yeah, let's get on into the episode.
So just before we get into the episode proper, I'm just going to say, guys, both of my animals, I say both my pets, are free roaming in the living room today. I mean, they normally have free room anyway, but it's just me at home. My partner's away at the moment, so they are hovering around me. So I can't promise they won't feature at some point during the course of the episode. You know, that's all I have to say. So this week, guys, we're going to be talking pretty much all things bar course related. So how to get through your bar course, as in, I know the whole premise of this podcast is about how to get through bar school and everything, but we're kind of really going to talk about, you know, the
crux of it.
Yeah, you know, really kind of delving into some of the detail. And I wonder if this might trickle over a couple of episodes, you know, who knows. We're going to talk about course mates and, you know, when to start revising, how to navigate yourself around some of the textbooks, you know, how not to burst out laughing every time you look at your friends in your advocacy classes because the whole thing feels so alien and weird, you know, that sort of stuff. That's going to be the thrust of the podcast this week.
I hate that word. Thrust.
Why? The thrust of my submission. Everyone ignore India.
Can I just start this off by saying, please guys, start revising from the get-go. There is so much content to learn, and I remember one of my friends on the course, Matthew, shout out to Matthew, he was revising from the start, and I remember thinking, this guy has got it down, like he knows what's going on. And don't get me wrong, I was revising as I went along as well, but he was really, really deep in the revision from the start, and he did absolutely amazingly in the bar course. He passed everything first time and everything with a really good grade as well. So I would definitely say take it from Matthew and start revising at the start, because I don't know if you guys will remember me saying a couple of episodes ago, and I've said this throughout the episodes, before I started the bar course, I did message a load of people on LinkedIn to say, please can I have some advice? The majority of people said to me, start revising early on. Start making resources, start making flashcards, posters, anything that helps you with your revision. Make them early on. In my experience, I learn better from flashcards. That's just what works for me. So I wish, in retrospect, I wish I would have started doing those flashcards straight away. And then I would have had them ready and raring to go for the litigation exams. Whereas on the lead up to the litigation exams, I spent all my time formulating resources when I should have been using those resources to supplement the learning that I'd already done.
Can I also say, I'm a big flashcard fan as well. I love a flashcard. I went and bought loads from the range, you know, sort of different colours. But also something that I found, and I know India, you did the same, and we both did this together, Quizlet. It's an app. I wonder if we can link it. India, you're the tech thing. Quizlet, it's an app, and basically you can make your own flashcards online, but you can access each other's like flashcards. So like you'd use mine, I would use yours, and you would kind of test each other on them.
Yeah.
That for me was a game changer. I
totally agree.
It was really, 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 really good.
Can I just quickly add, sorry, just whilst we're on the topic of flashcards, I have this amazing app on my iPad. So guys, sorry, I rudely interrupted Lou there, but I do just want to say, whilst on the topic of flashcards, there is this really good app that you can get called Good Notes. I will put it on the screen. I always forget which way it is. I think and you can basically make electronic flashcards. So basically, if you guys have got an iPad or a phone or even a laptop, you can so I put the topic card here and then the answer, and essentially you can learn them like this. Sorry, this is very clumsy me showing you, but so you can smart learn them. So you do like the flashcard and then you learn it, and then you do still learning or knew it already. And that's an amazing app. I really have found that really helped me, because it helps you to consolidate that learning that you've done. So Good Notes, again, is really, really good for flashcards and just note-taking in general. If you have an iPad, it's also really good.
And this is going to sound very strange, but for me, I am a visual learner, and my mum's always said that my revision notes have always been pretty. So like I have to make things
me too, 100%
look nice. I mean, I don't know if I can. So like that's my stuff. It always has to look a certain way, and that's just because, again, I know I'm being clumsy. The act of highlighting and putting things like the twist test, the little twisty, you know, like I don't know, things like that gets it in my mind. And I know that's really, really silly, but do you know what? I agree. If drawing helps you, not drawing, but you know, making it look a certain way gets it to stick in your mind, then that's absolutely fine. That's how you should revise. Obviously we can only give you guys our tips and what we did and what worked for us. What we might consider to be the best revision technique across the land might not work for you, and that's absolutely fine. Like, let us know what you think as well. Let us know, you know, share your tips.
I remember my dad always used to say to me that I should make, like, because I'm such a visual learner, I should make big posters. And for my A levels, I made massive posters, like A5 A3 smaller, A3 posters, and just stuck them up all around my room and just sat there and read off the poster until I knew it. So then when I was in the exam, I would be able to like locate the bits of information on the poster and be like, right, that goes to that, and that goes to that. And that was really helpful.
I've made those notes from a textbook, but as I'm reading the textbook, that's the notes I've made, and I'll go home and then I'll make flashcards from those notes, if that makes sense. There was one guy on our bar course who would sit there and he would read aloud to himself the white book. And that was what worked for him. And you know what? Kudos to him, because he passed.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
If
that's
that's your
obviously what
jam,
works.
that's your jam.
Another thing I'd just like to say, whilst we're on the topic of starting the bar course and things you should do to get a head start, as soon as you get your white book, start tabbing. So I'm going to show you mine and Lou's going to show you hers. So this is my volume 1 white book. So I'm tabbed down the side and I'm also tabbed up the top. So I have done mine colour coded, and by the way, guys, I can say that I have now passed civil litigation, so I'll never need this ever again. Just kidding. What I have done here is I've done like a key, so it's all colour coded. So that's all the modules that are in civil lit. It's all colour coded, so I can see which one I want to go to and then go to that colour tab, and everything that's in that section in the syllabus is under that colour in the white book, if you see what I mean. So, for example, everything in general matters is in this orange tab, so I know to go there. All the colours are the same topic, so that really helped me. I found that was a really easy way to navigate around the white book, is to colour code it. I've gone from like top to bottom, so number 1 is up here, and then it gets to like number 18 down here, and then I go across the top. But that's how I've tabbed mine. As you can see, it's very front heavy. This is like there's not much at the back.
Yeah, I was just looking at mine. Mine's the same.
Yeah, we're very similar in ours, like the way they go like that, like a slant. But that's my volume 1. My volume 2 didn't have too many tabs in it. I think it just had a couple of tabs for the interim injunction, so American cyanamide principles, which you'll learn when you get to the bar course. But yeah, Lou, do you want to give us a little tour of your white book?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, mine's not as sophisticated as India. Mine's just tabbed. Literally, there's no colour code. There is nothing. The only thing I've done, so I started tabbing sort of like just general areas, and I was like, no, I don't like this at all. So what I then did is I went through the syllabus and just marked in the syllabus. I cross-referenced the syllabus with the things that I needed to know in here. So the things that are tabbed here are things that I know are explicitly mentioned in the syllabus.
Can I just say, I've like highlighted round mine the things that are in the syllabus as well, just like what you've done, Lou.
Another tip. So, oh god, this is going to be really difficult. This is going to be so clumsy. Right, so I've got written the limitation periods in there, because don't forget, you could, so for the second civil paper, it's open book, and you can take in a tabbed, annotated version of the white, but you just can't take any loose pages. So I'd written things like the limitation periods. Another thing I'm going to quickly talk about is 2 things. First of all, what I would do is what was on the syllabus, I'd read it, and then in my own words, I would write over it in a post-it note. So I would work out what this was saying, and then with a post-it note, I would go over it in my own words, so that I know exactly. This is looking. Yeah. I'm so sorry, guys. This is the most like I can't do it any better than this. It's just a way of. That's just my way of sort of digesting things. The other thing I had, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it very clearly here, is I bought some translucent post-it notes. So, so these were a way that I could annotate and underline things in the white book without marking it if I didn't want to. In the end, I gave up and thought, well, I've scribbled all over it anyway, so they do. So as far as it was. That's another little technique, is what you need to, or learning what you need to learn, and then writing it in your own words. I mean, sort of later on down, I mean, further on, the book's just full. I mean, it's just absolute. Part 36, section 36. Part 36. Section 36? So part 36. Rule 30, CPR 36.
Yeah, so In conclusion, guys, tab your white book as soon as possible. As soon as you get it, get tabbing. I got my tabs from Ryman, I think, in Nottingham, because that was quite a big stationery shop. I'm not sure if it's still going. But you can get a complete array of colours in there. You can make it all colour-coded. That's how I learn. I'm like a super organised and meticulous person when it comes to things like that, so everything had to be colour-coded. And that's just what works for me. If that makes it more confusing for you, which it might well do, don't do it. But yeah, just do what works for you ultimately, but make sure you're tabbing.
Just another example, guys. Look what was there and what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Lovely.
I didn't think I'd ever have to pick this up again, but here we are. Things we do for the pod. I can only speak for Trent. I'm assuming it's the same across all providers, but you will, in your advocacy sessions, be given. I'm assuming it's the same. We got given 4 cases. No.
We got given 4 criminal briefs.
4 criminal briefs and then 2 civil briefs, didn't we?
Yeah.
We would defend 2, prosecute 2.
Oh, yeah. And then you'd be an applicant or a respondent or claimant and...
So, yeah.
And civil.
So the way I work, again, it's not different, is I got 2 folders. So I have my prosecution briefs in here and my defence briefs in this one. As soon as we got the case papers, when we first started, I printed them out. I highlighted. I got to kind of, I read all the cases. I highlighted everything that needs to be highlighted. It might seem a bit, I don't know what the word is, but do it. Like, get to know these are your cases. You don't have any other cases. We had these 4 briefs, and we knew we had to know them inside and out.
Yeah.
So get to know them. I literally would I'd highlight bits of statements and say, this is helpful, this is not helpful, this is aggravating, this is not aggravating, can't use this, keep this in. Just kind of look for the flaws in your case. And our tutor was really, again, I'm sure it's the same, but we had like a case strategy planner that we'd fill in. And I also, alongside that, created a working document on my laptop. So I would have like a good points, bad, like strengths, weaknesses, and I'd just keep it. I'd always kind of keep updating that as the case developed. Also, you'd get a brief at the start. As the year went on, you'd get like new statements, new supplements, and like things would like you'd have to like add in as well. So
I've done mine pretty similarly to Lou, but I've got mine all in one folder. So as you can see, mine's tabbed down the side, again colour coded as always. I've got advocacy, and then I've got the 4 cases that we did. They're obviously not real cases, so I think I can show the names because they're not real people.
Yeah, they're not real.
Yeah, so same as Lou, I've got all my briefs in here, and I had everything, so all the supplementary material we got given, I put it all in this folder. Keep it all in one place. It's going to be, you're going to get a lot of material, and you want to make sure that you've got it all there. And ultimately, when you become a barrister, you get real briefs, you're going to have to keep it all in the same place, because you are going to have a lot of bundles and lots of information to deal with. So yeah, get your practice in early, keep it all in one folder, make sure you're not losing everything. And yeah, I totally agree with you, Lou.
So that's kind of in relation to more practical techniques of sort of tabbing and revising and managing your papers, I suppose. And of course, we can touch on this more and more as the weeks go on. In relation to, and in India, I know you want me to mention this, advocacy, something, and in particular, examination in chief, it's very difficult to do in cross-examination because it's an entirely different skill. Examination in chief, when you know what you want to ask and you can sort of you can, not necessarily a script, but you can kind of plan your questioning. What I would do is I've got it printed out here because I had it with me on the day, but I would make a table and I would have the question I want to ask on this side, and then I would have the answer here. And essentially, I would have my laptop open and I would or I'd have this with me, and I'd ask the question, and I'd be able to either scribble down the answer or quickly type the answer down next to me.
Yeah.
And that really helped me. Again, you can't necessarily do it with cross-examination, given that you don't know what you're going to get out of your witness. You don't know what they're going to say. much harder to do. But with examination in chief, when you can kind of plan your questioning, that's what I did. And that's sort of, I had categories of what I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
I had, and then again, I had the question and then a box for the answer. This is a really good tool if you only use it as a structure, as a guide. Because one thing I will say, you can't rely on just it. And it's really important. You don't rely on just, your question. You can't be too rigid. I would have these open, but if the witness gave an answer that didn't fit my next question, I couldn't suddenly just jump. It's important to.
Yeah.
If you think that's something that's going to become confusing, then don't do it. But it helps me kind of keep track of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, once you're on your feet and you're in court, once you are in your second six of pupillage and you're getting regularly instructed and you're constantly getting briefs, you may be much more confident. But when you're in bar school, you may not have had much experience with advocacy or public speaking before, and it may be really useful to have sort of, like Lou said, a guide there to help you through. I know that really helped both of us. And I will just hype Lou up for a second. Lou did get the best overall grade for advocacy in our year. So you can trust what she says when it comes to writing a structure and a guide, because it's obviously a very successful technique. Like you said, Lou, it's important to understand that in any type of advocacy, it's going to be pretty unpredictable. You may have questions from or answers from the client or the witness that you may not be expecting, and you may have to adapt and be flexible and think on your feet. You may have questions from the judge that may sort of throw your case out of whack. Again, you have to be adaptable, and that's a skill that you learn when you're doing advocacy. And I personally really loved advocacy. I thought it was so much fun. The first time we ever did it, don't get me wrong, I was very nervous because we've done our fair share of public speaking and performing on the stage, but when it comes to actually doing something that you're not 100% sure about, I didn't know whether what I was saying was correct or not, so it was a bit nerve-wracking, but you soon get in a swing of things. And like we've mentioned before, you're only in a class with probably differs from different providers, but at Trent we were in a class with me and 5 other people, so 6 altogether.
And I don't think it was ever at full, was it? Like, there was always sort of people coming and going.
So yeah, you can definitely trust what Lou says in that regard. She's a cracking formidable. I can't speak. I was gonna say she's a formidable advocate. So listen to what she says.
Very kind of you to say.
But can I just quickly delve into some of our advocacy sessions? So you'll probably guess by now that me and Lou were in the same advocacy, and that came to be quite difficult sometimes. We were literally friends straight away. So when it came to, I remember one seminar, we had to act as a jury for the other person. So it was me, Lou, and 2 other people in our seminar group who we were also quite good friends with. And we had to stand up, and was it a closing speech you had to do, Lou?
Yeah, closing speech.
A closing speech in front of our friends acting as the jury. And you had to be obviously really professional and really serious. And you can imagine, honestly, if I looked at Lou once, I was going to burst into laughter. So I was like, I can't look at this girl. I remember I was just looking directly at Zach.
Everyone else but me.
Yeah, because I was like, I can't do it. I'm just going to start laughing.
Yeah, I remember this. Oh, it's embarrassing and it is hideous. One thing, and it is again a really big piece of advice. You won't want to do it because it's awful. Record yourself. And listen back to it. It's awful. It's hideous. You'll hate it. But trust me, I listened not long after we finished the bar course back to my first ever advocacy, and it was a bail application. The first one we did.
Yeah.
And I literally, you can hear my voice shaking. I'm like,
we sound like little nervous little mouse, like little mice, don't we? Like,
you want to be and I'm just going on and on and on. And I listen to it now, slow down, stop, you're talking about. Take a breath. You might want to video yourself if you can. I don't know. We just recorded ourselves, and that it was fine. Again, it's hideous. No one likes listening to their own voice. I know Winnie's agreeing.
Yeah, we've got to listen to our own voice back every week, guys, when we listen to this podcast back. And sometimes I'm like, literally, shut up. No, but it's okay. Can I just say as well, it can get a little bit, it is obviously quite an awkward thing. And I remember the funniest seminars we did were when we had to cross-examine each other. Because I remember, do you remember that time me and Zach cross-examined me and I was not budging. I was like the world's worst witness. I was like not giving in. I was being like on purpose because I was trying to like really test him. And he dealt with it so well. But it was really funny. Obviously we were friends at this point. So it was like, we were literally like staring each other down like we're about to literally have a battle. But it was really funny. But ultimately, guys, just enjoy these sessions. Like, I miss it now. This is our form of advocacy now, and I'm missing, like, sort of being on my feet and being able to have a brief and digest the brief, and I'm really missing that. So make the most of it.
Yeah, and, like, have fun with them. Like we've said before, try different styles, try different techniques, see what works for you. Just enjoy it. Like, this is your only time you're really going to get any advocacy where, other than your exams and obviously any competitions you do, but the only time you'll get to really kind of practice your advocacy where there's no consequence. Yeah. If you go in with that attitude, I think it does take a while. I mean, like, we were so nervous the first couple of weeks, but then by the end of it, we all just sort of
we just got on with it, didn't we? I think we just, I think ultimately we just appreciated we were all in the same boat. We were all there to do the same thing. And I really enjoyed actually listening to everybody else's advocacy because you could take down little techniques that you learned from other people. You thought, I really liked when they did that, so I'm going to sort of use that in my next bit of advocacy. So really enjoy it, I'd say. Do you want to take us home, girl?
Take us home.
Take us home.
So I feel like we've kind of just talked a lot there and sort of chucked a load of stuff at you guys. I think the plan will be maybe when we get to season 2, is there going to be a season 2? Let's hope it's a season 2.
Absolutely.
Once we've got these first 10 episodes out, season 2 will be more of like a how-to, hands-on, and perhaps we'll do like a bit of techniques. We can cross-examine one another.
We'll see if that's a success with the audience.
Yeah,
they might hate that and be like, literally never do that ever again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we might love it. So there we are. I think we'll probably call it there. We'll adjourn proceedings.
Adjourn for today.
Thank you guys, as always, for your support. You are all lovely, lovely people. I hope you all have, or I hope those who have submitted applications for pupillage are taking this time to try and relax and put it to the back of your brain. And hard because it's
a really big time. You only get a month to properly apply for these applications. So give yourself a pat on the back. I'm sure you've done enough work to at least get an interview and hopefully eventually get a pupillage. But, we're all in the same boat, and I think, like we've said on previous episodes, we have to get to a point where we're comfortable with rejection and we're comfortable with, having to redo it a couple of times, and that's just the way it goes. So I hope everybody if I had it my way, everybody who applied and was good enough got a pupillage. That would be what I would do, but it doesn't work like that, obviously. So, all the best for everybody, and again, thank you so much for your support. Please, you can always email us or message us on Instagram DM if you have any queries, any questions, or anything you would like us to talk about in any future episodes. Definitely let us know. We'll be all ears for that. We'll see you next week, guys.
We shall see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.